You've seen my TikTok videos, you've seen my books, and probably by now you've seen every social media account that I've got. But until today, you've not seen my face and my name and my voice all in one place. Today's the day you see me. Hi everyone, my name's Brandon. For the last few years I've been involved in something unique. My life has had an interesting turn, and the events and everything in it just have went a way I didn't expect. They sort of caused me to, those events caused me to rethink how I thought about the world. And unknowingly, subconsciously, I was doing something to myself, preparing myself, I guess, maybe. I really don't know. Can't explain it. I do know that I was subconsciously putting together a piece of a huge puzzle that turned into this project that I'm working on. This huge project, more or less, has consumed my life for about 2 years. Been pretty interesting. Started in an unusual spot and turned into something I never thought it would. It led to me putting out some TikTok videos and, putting out some books, and I put a banker bot skill out. And I don't know, I've been through a lot this year, and in a good way, not in a bad way, in a good way. And I think things are going in the right direction. So I put that out there because today I'm introducing the website for all of this. So the website is night4d.com. And this is about my inversion framework, my inversion theory. Don't know where it's going to go. I haven't known where it's going to go since the beginning. I didn't even know it was going to turn into this. But let's rewind. Let me tell you a little bit about myself, give you a little backstory, so you kind of understand me and you kind of understand where I'm coming from with things. I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's ass, okay? So here we go. So this handle name, I put out the TikToks, I put out the banker bot skill, I put out the books. I really didn't think anything was going to happen. It still may not. I don't know. But I put it out under a handle, a pseudonymous name, BS Medicine Man. I just thought it sounded good. It was a good online name, right? And so I stuck with it. I slapped it on a book or two and just kept it, and even put it on the website. So you'll see it there on the front page. But that's not my real name. My real name's Brandon. Okay. I thought it sounded good, so I stuck with it. So anyway, I started this project because I was into crypto trading at the time. I mean, I still do it a little bit, but I was into crypto trading and lost a ton of money, and more than I'd ever lost before. And I got a little frustrated and wanted to figure out a way to trade better in the market. And so I started trying to evaluate entry points, exit points, how the candle math was actually calculated as it progressed, and just kept stumbling upon similar problems to what I'd seen in physics years ago. I'm not a physics major at all. I went to college. I've had physics classes in college. I've had chemistry, but that's not my degree at all. I'm a nurse. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for 20 years. I work in very high stress medicine. I'm an ICU nurse, ER nurse. I deal with people dying and bleeding out every day. That's what I do for work. I don't look in telescopes and analyze solar systems, okay? That's not me. But I do have a certain mindset, a certain set of skills that I use every day at work that have kind of helped me in this project. And so I'll explain those as we go on with videos. But just so you know who I am, I'm not full of shit, okay? I'm not telling you this is going to solve all the world's math problems, but I hope it does. If it does, great, cool. There it is. If it doesn't, I'm just another crazy guy on the internet, right? But So here it is. PRI framework basically says an incorrect ratio equation 1 over x equals y over 1. As above, so below. Okay, that's my visual, as above, so below. That's my way to take that age-old phrase and make it a mathematical problem. So I did. Same equation written correctly is x times y equals 1. Okay, I know the math. I was really good at math. I know I wrote it wrong. Okay, 100%. It was a visual tool. So 1 over x equals y over 1. What does that mean? Well, it basically means that you can take two known things and find a reciprocal tie between them. It's useful if you don't know what a phenomenon is or what a variable is that you're trying to find. So I use this technique actually every day at work. This is something a lot of people use in their jobs and their daily lives, and they don't even realize it. So let me walk you through a day at work. I go to work. I have a patient. They're sick. I have an understanding of symptoms that they have, what brought them to the hospital, right? Then something happens while I'm there. You know, their symptoms change. They have a new development. I know some of the medicines that they're on. I know some of their history. I know what their body is doing. I have to now figure out what is going on so I can communicate that with the care team, the doctor, and, help them figure out a solution to cure this patient, treat this patient. I'm not the one coming up with the diagnoses, but I'm directing the doctor as to what it might be. That's my job, is to be his help. And that's what I do. But in a sense, I'm doing this PRI framework in real time. I have variable A, which is the patient's baseline. I have variable B, which is what is happening. And I have a third variable that we don't know that we're trying to figure out. And all we have to work with is the two known solutions. That's where this plugs into real life situations. We don't classify it this way. We don't say that this type of thinking is how we think. I mean, we probably do in some way. I don't know, but we don't lay it out like this. This is no different than the way an engineer reverse engineers a problem. Okay. And so I put it out there in the book. Very simple math that branches into more complex topics. So that's the background on me. You understand I've got an analytical mind. I understand a little bit about biology, chemistry, physics, the way the body works. I understand about chemical processes in the body. I understand about, I just have a general knowledge of all kinds of stuff. I'm not a specialist in one thing. Okay. So let's go back to my job. One of the things that I do as a nurse, I interpret EKGs. I interpret telemetry readings. And if you don't know what those are the little squiggly lines you see on a heart monitor. Okay. I'm a pro with that shit. I can get them all day long. And there's some nurses that don't catch on as fast as I do. There's nurses that have been nurses for as long as me or longer that just don't understand that concept. But I picked it up very quick. In school, I understood the way electricity flowed through the heart. I understood the biological electrical system. I understood it down at the cellular level. I understood it, when certain ions were entering the cell and leaving the cell, they caused electricity. I understood all that stuff. Very good. Not to brag, I had A's in anatomy and physiology. I had A's in my math classes. Like, I was a smart kid in college. High school, not so much. Yeah, I didn't care in high school. Yeah, college, I did a little bit better. But so, as a nurse, I got to read these EKG strips. I have to spot patterns. And I have to spot the most minute patterns before they blow up and escalate into something way more severe. And that's something as subtle as somebody's heart rate changing by 2, 3, 5, 10 beats per minute over the course of an hour or two. You know, that's one indicator of a much larger problem. And that pattern recognition is ingrained in my head. In everything that I see, I look for patterns. It's just how I'm wired now. So when I look at these patterns in mathematics, I'm not looking at it from the standpoint of a mathematician or a physicist or somebody who only does this as their line of work. They probably got some really bad uh, OCD about it. Everything's got to be perfect for them. I'm looking at it with a fresh new set of eyes, boys. Okay? I don't see it that way, and I don't care. What I see is what I see, and I'm putting it out there for you to see what I see. If I'm wrong, tell me. I'd love to know. So let's go back to the website for a second. Night4D.com. This is the home, the official home. I've bought the domain. This is the official home now of what I like to call the Inversion Project. Okay? So you know the books, you know the titles, you know the content. Basically, there is a mirror or a reverse or an inverse to just about everything in this life. An inverse to your emotions, an inverse to your actions, an inverse to everything. And I think I can prove it. And that's kind of where we're going with things. So far, it's looking pretty good, too. So, let's talk about the theory. It's not just a theory for me. So, it looks good on paper. And the more that I researched into things, the more that I read about it, it's not just a theory to me personally. It's just kind of a philosophy or a complete system. And I don't want to sound nuts to you. I'm not a cult leader. I'm not going to try to make you change your religion or anything like that. That's not my goal here. But it was a way for me to understand things better. And that's what I mean by philosophy. It helped the little gears turn in my mind. So, I don't know, I've kind of been living this inadvertently. Been writing it down. I've been reading it, been living it, been testing it without even realizing it, been refining it really before I even put pen to paper. So, or, typed on a paper. And I guess we type now. I do have some handwritten stuff, but most of it was typed. The story is it's evolved from so many places. It's evolved from my personal life. It's evolved from a patient's bedside. It's evolved from being out in my garage working on stuff. I don't know. It's just really is a part of everything. If you sit back and take a second and think about every part of your life, you can apply this to a lot of things. At least I could. So, what does this concept do? What does this project do? Well, it flips the way you think about math. It flips the way you think about science. And it's not disproving any of the things that you've already learned. It's just showing you a different world that you've not been taught. It's teaching you a different way to see things that most people don't teach you. It's just about seeing the world, I guess, geometrically. Normally we see things in black and white. And we see things as material things that we can touch and feel and measure. That's what is real to us. And I think that over time we've lost I guess, the spiritual side that humans have. Some people are still in tune with it, but just as a whole, as society, we focus too much on one aspect of life and not the other. And if you understand what I'm saying about that, is to be a whole person, I guess, in different forms of philosophy, you have to take the material things and the spiritual things and hold them both to understand them, to understand the world as a whole. And so that philosophy written down in mathematics is no different. And so you take the material things that you can measure, you take the spiritual or unknown or unseen things that you think might be there, and you try to find those hidden things. So all these principles in the books, they've been something I've been modeling every day. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you check out the webpage, check out my socials, and hope you get to check out the books too. I really appreciate you sticking around watching the video, and hopefully we'll see this inversion take off one day. Again, my name is Brandon, BS Medicine Man on Amazon. Thank you again.